Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the brand new ROG Phone 5. ASUS finally released the successor to the ROG Phone 3. We're skipping number 4, but the main benefit here is that we have a lot of new things. The Snapdragon 888, we have the 6,000 milliampere battery that we've had in the past, but now supporting 65 watts. And we have the return of the headphone jack, supported by Quad DAC. So a lot of cool things to actually be very excited about. This is TK, and this is XDA TV. Here we have it, the brand new ROG Phone 5. Keep in mind there's 3 different variants of this. Michelle over at the portal has the ROG Phone 5 Ultimate, and the one I have with me right here is the ROG Phone 5. The Pro unfortunately is not available yet, but my understanding essentially, since we're covering the entry level as well as all the way the best version, we should be able to give you guys a good example of both. There'll be a link for his article in the description below. My unit came with the ROG Phone 5 as well as an actual case for it. Although it's not really meant to be very much a protection type of case, it's mostly for aesthetics. It's a glass back, and this model does not have the additional display on the back the way the Ultimate has. This one still has the RGBs present on the back. There's a triple camera setup on the back with 1 microphone and dual tone LED flash. And of course, we have a 6,000 milliampere battery, actually 2 3,000 milliampere batteries built in here, charged up with the included charger in the box. That is a 65 watt charger from 0 to 100% in about 55 minutes or so. On the left, or on the right side, we have basically 1 microphone, a volume rocker, and a power button. And of course, on the left side, we have that nice dock mechanism here, the pin connectors, as well as a USB-C that's present on the left. This is going to be the one that supports HDMI out. Just keep in mind if you're trying to mirror your display, and this does support it. What you need to do, of course, know is on the bottom now, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack. It's a Quad DAC supported headphone jack with a USB-C port charging here. Of course, when you're gaming, this gives you the ability of using your phone very nicely, not having to have anything plugged in here, as this port with this connector here gives you the ability of using a headphone jack on the bottom. So very nice and very easy, and of course includes a cooler to be able to keep the thermals under check when we're playing for an extended amount of time. Lastly, there's a kickstand here on the back, as well as 2 air trigger buttons that we're able to configure directly within the UI, and of course on top of the 2 built-in ones that we still have as we normally have them with ROG phones. Now, first and foremost, it's a 6.78 display that's a 1080p panel at 144 Hz with a 300 Hz touch sampling rate. We have touch squeeze control configuration here on the right and left. So if I press and squeeze here for a second, it turns on and turns off X mode. And that's, if you're used to or familiar with it on ROG phones, this is the gaming mode that we have in here that we're able to customize to be able to get the best performance out of this smartphone. And they actually integrated it here, so press and holding for a second activates it, the background changes. You'll see the darker red here, enabling us basically to understand that it's at a high RPM. And of course, or we could just use it from the notification panel and turn it off. As far as the configuration we have is all 3 models will carry the Snapdragon 888. The standard model carries 16 gigs of RAM, as well, where the Pro and the Ultimate will carry 18 gigs of RAM. As far as the internal storage, the standard will be at 256 gigs of UFS 3.1, where the Pro and the Ultimate will feature 512 gigs of internal storage, and then again UFS 3.1. So a lot of different configurations there. The display, as I mentioned, is a 1080p 144 Hz. Now it's capable of going all the way up to 1200 nits of brightness outdoors, so definitely bright enough to be able to play games. And of course HDR10 with HDR10 Plus certification to be able to enjoy content on it, not just necessarily playing games all the time. Now when we talk about the actual sensors here, we have a triple camera sensors, as I mentioned, a 64 megapixel sensor. It's going to be your primary sensor. That's going to be your standard focal length, and that's capable of giving us 8K 30 frames per second as well as 4K 60 frames per second. And of course the secondary lens is a 13 megapixel ultra wide, and the last one is a 5 megapixel macro lens. Dual tone LED flash. The front facing camera is on the top right, and it is part of this notch that's present there. There is no full display, and again, they're using it to be able to give you the best sounding experience here from the top and the bottom of the speakers. So whenever it's functional, I have absolutely no problems with the way they approached it here. But it is a 24 megapixel camera sensor capable of providing us a 1080p 60 frames per second maximum resolution. The camera app actually has a lot of nice functionalities. So we have slow-mo, time-lapse, video, photo mode, portrait mode, of course, panorama. More, we get the ability of using that macro lens, night mode, motion tracking, pro video, and of course, pro photo options. Let me go ahead and give you guys a quick sample of the video on both the front-facing and the back-facing sensors. This is going to be a quick sample of the front-facing camera on the ROG Phone 5, 1080p 60 on the front, and of course 4K and 8K on the back, so let's go ahead and switch over. Now we're shooting 4K 60 frames per second here on the back-facing sensor, all the way, well, this one is capable of going all the way up to 8K, although I feel like 8K is mostly for nature, but for sharing content and creating really good videos, of course 4K 60 is going to be the best. Stabilized video will be capped at 1080p since it's shooting at a higher resolution and cropping it down for that buttery smooth images, video that we were looking for. Stabilization available here, again 1080p mostly. The walking is obviously just to show that this is going to work great even when I'm holding it handheld and walking. Now let's talk about configuration of the sound. This supports a 3.5mm headphone jack as well as stereo speakers, and we have the ability of using the built-in D-Rack audio tuner that's built in here. Now, one thing I really like about this is that it actually memorizes or remembers profiles. So if, let's say, I customize my EQ when I'm using my headphones, it changes them and it keeps it and it remembers it for us. And if I remove it, it goes back and it uses it the standard one, giving us the ability of getting the best sound experience on this from all experiences, either speakers or headphones. And of course, you can customize your EQ, and of course, if you have your headphones in, you can also customize that experience there. Now, this is running Android 11, of course, under the hood, providing us with all the new optimizations that we have in here, and very smooth, very fast system. 5G is supported here at sub-6 levels, so meaning no ultra wideband, so T-Mobile, AT&T sub-6, this is going to work perfectly fine. And of course, if I turn off the actual Wi-Fi here, you should be able to see it. 4G plus, and I'll give it a second, it should be able to switch over there. When it comes down to actual speed test, I did run a quick speed test here. I was able to get 74 down and 864 up, again, running on T-Mobile, connected to my Simi Valley location, not that far from where I am. When you first open it up, you're automatically greeted into the game library, and this is going to be a list of all the games that you have installed. If you have one that is not showing up in there, you click the plus button, go through the app system, turn it on, and it'll add it directly in here. Console is the ability of configuring the different modes of X mode here. So X mode essentially is the overall performance. Everything is maxed out to the top. You can see here automatic activation, activation for hyperfusion, automatic activate dual band Wi-Fi. We do have Wi-Fi 6E support here on top of regular mode. And of course we have sliding sensitivity, sliding precision, as well as touch sensitivity. As I mentioned, 300 Hertz touch sampling rate. Dynamic is more of the balanced profile. Ultra durable is for the extended battery. And when we have X mode turned off, it automatically goes into the advanced mode. So that's the mode that we're in right now. If I want to activate X mode, I just have to select it and hit apply, and it'll take me straight in there, activating the performance settings on this. We have a few other options in here, and there was a really nice experience here when we first set up the device. Now, during the setup, they actually did a really nice setup there where they gave us the ability of seeing some different animation here using the camera system, all using basically the game here under the AR Mission Selfie, where it goes through, runs this actual scenario based on the box that I have. So obviously it'll be a little bit different for the Ultimate and the Pro, and we're also able to customize our own selfie. Last thing here, obviously we have the features section, your profile here. Akira is set up for me. And of course, you can connect if you want to be able to jump into the community. Now, the reason why we have Shadowgun Legends here is because this is actually one of the only games I was able to get to run 144 Hertz on this while gaming and being able to actually see it. You'll notice I have crosshairs turned on and still have the Game Genie sitting here on the left side, showing us the refresh rate, the temperature of the phone, the CPU frequency, as well as X mode on. We can customize the refresh rate to be either auto, 60, 120, or 144. I like to leave it at the highest. You're able to also customize basically the brightness lock, no calls, the ability of doing screen recording, as you'll see with a little bit of a sample of gaming on the smartphone that I'll share with you guys in a second. And of course, the ability of turning on and customizing the touch triggers or the triggers that we have in here. Now, by default, as you know, this actually supports the two triggers that are natively built into the smartphone. So the top right and left, so you can see those right there activated. You're able to change the profile if you want to. You can save it as a separate profile, name it differently, but it automatically recognizes the game and it loads the profile that you have in there. So every game will have its own configuration. There's no need to reconfigure it every time. Now, we have the motion control options here that we are able to activate. And of course, if we actually, when you're using the actual dock itself, and once you have it connected, a couple of things will turn on. First and foremost, the fan will start turning on, and we have that additional RGB light that's present right there. It does turn off the original RGB that's present beneath it. So keep that in mind, and you're still able to customize it. The triggers are functional. You'll be able to turn them on here. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons that are present for us, so that we can actually have a much nicer full screen gaming experience with the stereo speakers that we have in here. Again, customizing profiles and setting up everything will work perfectly fine for you. The fan does generate some sound, but I promise you that when you're playing games, you're not going to have any problems hearing your game, because the overall experience is actually much nicer. As you can see, the fan is not, you can't hear it at all. And as you heard right there, not that bad. And again, since it's facing the other way around, and us holding our phone like this, it's not going to have any problem. And again, you can keep track of your device thermals right there for extended gaming sessions. So the ROG Phone 5 obviously is bringing back a feature that I personally really enjoy from the ROG Phone 2, and that's the headphone jack. Gamers will always appreciate zero latency gaming experience on any kind of device that they're playing. And unfortunately, wireless still is not 100% there. So a quad DAS supported headphone jack is definitely very appreciated. The ability of charging the two 3000 milliampere batteries totaling 6000 from 0 to 100 in about 55 minutes is really, really nice. They include the charger in the box, and again, it's a 65-watt charger, so it's very good from the sense of giving you a large battery to play for a long time, and giving you obviously a large display, very fast refresh rate, a great ergonomics from when essentially the two triggers on the top, or if you want to use the Aero Cooler 5, it gives you an additional two. Now, the Pro and the Ultimate do have additional sensors on the back, and they also have a little bit of different ergonomics, where there's a smaller display on the back to give you a little bit more, I feel like, more gamer-esque features that you definitely would love to be able to get. The standard 5 definitely features a lot of those benefits with a few minor tweaks. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, make sure to check out the link to the actual article that Michal posted over on the portal, detailing his review of the Ultimate Edition, the best of the best when it comes to gaming phones from ASUS. Like and subscribe as usual. Make sure to check out my channel, and of course, I'll see you guys in the next one.